Fight Fiend Forecast is back. UFC Abu Dhabi. Let's kick the party started. You can join us in Discord for free with Prelim Tim MMA Toe. Discord is free. A lot of free bets in there, and we cover all sports. Instagram, follow F3 there. Along the way, we got X. We got a Patreon for paid members. If you're in Patreon, link up to Discord. Last week, I forgot to post the bets in Patreon, but they were posted in Discord lock sections. So link up to Discord from Patreon. If you're a paid member, get all access in Discord by joining Patreon. Let's get the party started here in Abu Dhabi. Crack one, pour one. Let's have some fun. Keep the momentum moving forward. 9 for 12 on picks last week. A lot of collabs throughout the week. You got to stay forecasted for. Like and subscribe if you have not yet. We're back tomorrow, Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time for the Quick Pick show. Multiple picks on that show. And the community in the live chat gives their picks on each and every fight. And then we're back Friday. Fight fans. Prop Fiends are live every Friday. We're doing 2 shows, 4 p.m. Eastern time Friday and 9 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. It's a ton of fun, and we're doing a double header once again as UK, Netherlands, Scotland, all the fans out that way have an earlier show time, and they can join the show too at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So we're going to have to do a double header, 2 Prop Fiend shows on Friday. And Friday after the first Prop Fiend show, we're doing a fantasy draft. 5 entries. Worst score in the fantasy draft gets replaced every event, including Fight Fiend. And I had the worst score last week. So I'm replaced. I'm now the host. And we're bringing in MMA Fiends. And then Icy MMA is up next. And we have a draft pool for who is up next in the draft. The winner of the draft wins $50. Credit to Polly Walnuts on that last win there. Him and Prelim Tim had a tiebreaker, a double tiebreaker. It went down to a giveaway wheel, and Polly Walnuts got it done the last fantasy draft. We run it every event. Winner gets that $50 now. And it's a ton of fun, the fantasy draft. I'm now the host. I'll host the show. Everyone is welcome to join. Just message me or Tim on Instagram, Discord to enter the pool. Join Discord. It's free. We have a channel just for the fantasy draft. If you want to enter, message in that channel. You want to be a part of the fantasy draft, and you have a chance to win 50. If you win the draft, the worst score gets replaced and then entered back into the pool to see who's up next. Prop Fiends doubleheader. So stay forecasted for that. I'm going to have to flip the slides here. I want to start it off with the first fight of the night here in Abu Dhabi. Some of these fights, honestly, could be on Dana White's Contender Series. I think 5 to 6 debuts, maybe 4. There's quite a few debuts, with that being said. And with it being in this region, maybe that's why they're getting a chance without the Dana White's Contender Series. But with that coming up, I think some of them might even have to go back there with a loss if they can't get it done here. Maybe some of them are just good enough that they didn't need the Contender Series, as we'll break down every fight here in Abu Dhabi. We'll break down each and every fight, starting it off with the first fight. But yeah, maybe some of these guys could have been on Dana White's Contender Series, and that's where we started off with the first fight of the night. Abdul, Hussein, possible guy that should have been on Dana White's Contender Series. He gets a veteran in this fight now. Cody Gibson, 21-12. The veteran is a big underdog, plus 300, and I got to give him some respect. Although finished in his last 2 fights, I still think he is a fighter with a lot of experience. Although losing in some of those fights, we got Abdul Hussein in a debut here. Level of competition honestly not as good as Cody Gibson's seen recently at the UFC level. You know, the last 5 fights, you're seeing all finishes for Hussein. He's a short fighter, but his last win was to a 42-year-old Tyson Nam, who is really a 125er. Cody Gibson could make 145 if he wanted to. He's a very big bantamweight. And you can tell just looking at the reach, the height advantage in this fight, he is going to be the bigger fighter in this one. So at this price tag, first fight of the night, and then the level of competition for Hussein fought, his strength of schedule, I would rather see him fight on Dana White's Contender Series, if I'm being completely honest. And I think this is a tough fight for him. With Cody Gibson losing his last 2, 3 in a row would not be a great look. This is his second stint in the UFC. And in this fight, more than ever, he's going to have to bark like a dog if he wants to secure that UFC contract. Maybe even make some extra money for his gym, as he opened up a gym. A little bit of extra bonus money wouldn't hurt here if he can finish this fight as a 4-1 underdog to start the night. I think he can. There could be a lot of value, too, on Cody Gibson. I'm not sure what prop I would like to take. Probably just whatever's the biggest number, because I think he could be live to get the KO in this fight or submission, and definitely to win at 4-1. So with that being said, the strength of schedule, I'm going to rock with Cody Gibson. He better be motivated and put up a hell of a fight, because if he can't win this one, it might be soon over for him at 38. 10 years younger is Hussein in his UFC debut here, but he's 5'5". He lacks the reach advantage, and I'm not going to trust in his strength of schedule here. I would much rather see him fight on Dana White's Contender Series versus another prospect. And looking at it here, he had a lot of fights potentially at 125. So yeah, he is going to be a small frame. Fight Fiend is going to side with the underdog here. First fight of the night. Second fight of the night. This is one I was back and forth on, and I think the odds are starting to go towards the fighter I did pick, although not overly confident. I'm siding with the undefeated Nurullo Aliev in this one over Mike Davis. You just don't know what you're going to get from a Mike Davis from fight to fight. He's good everywheres, but he's not really shining anywheres. His striking's clean. His grappling's clean. He's good everywheres. He's great nowheres, in my opinion. He is looking like he's slowing down in his career. For only being 33, it just looks like he is kind of starting to slow down. And Nurullo leaves 25. He's young, hungry. He has that wrestling in his back pocket, which might be a problem for Mike Davis. Just the takedowns, the constant threat of the takedowns. I can see Nurullo Aliev getting a takedown at the end of almost every round here just to lock up the round, make it look like he's winning. Even if it is a close round, those takedowns might just win him the round here, as he is very elite with those takedowns. But this is one of those guys on the card that is not training with Magomed Ankalaev or Islam Makhachev, any of those camps. He is actually at Kill Cliff FC. So I do believe he's working on his striking to keep this fight more competitive for him. That's where he might lack, obviously. I think Davis in the striking department could be a step ahead in points of this fight and in rounds. But then the takedowns are there for Nurullo Aliev. The young fighter, 25, he should have the gas tank, winning multiple decisions, only 2 knockouts. Like, he has the gas to go 15 and just keep being relentless with the takedowns and winning points. Even make it look like you're winning in a close round at the very end. Just that one takedown, a big takedown, explosive one, can really steal a round. So I have to side with the favorite, Nurullo Aliev, in this one. He's 25. Obviously still needs to sharpen up the striking, but being at Kill Cliff FC, that might be a good move. He's in North America training, and his wrestling's already really good. It's not like he has to stay in Dagestan to do 2-3 more years wrestling. All right, we got Nurullo Aliev in this one. Very close to picking Mike Davis, respect to him. I'm going with the Tajik Eagle here, undefeated. Now, the next fight of the night is one where I was trying to give respect to the underdog, Brendson Ribeiro, 17-10. Now, he is almost 6-1 in this fight as an underdog, and at that price, you got to kind of give a little bit of respect and beware. You never know when these big dogs could bark. Brenson's barked before. Looking at him here, was it his first time? on the Contender Series was an upset against Bruno Lopez. I think he was almost a 6-1 dog in that fight. He ends up getting the win, knockout round 1. So I could see him doing that in this fight. Like, it wouldn't really shock me. He is very explosive, and it's almost kill or be killed for Brendson Ribeiro. He does normally look like a beast in the cage with the big frame, but in this one, honestly, the bigger frame goes to the undefeated fighter that trains with Magomed Ankalaev, Magomed Tuchalov. Now, Tuchalov here is 6'5". He's 26 years old, and the hype is real. Looking at tape here on him, very explosive, and he can mix it up with the takedowns too. On the feet is really where he's getting a lot of his opponents out of there for only being 6-0, 5 knockout wins, 3 in round 1. He has a good flying knee, and kind of like we've seen with last week there with Dracus du Plessis, that knee was always in those combinations. It's kind of like Tuchalov. He's always mixing it up with those knees, and then you see the elbows in the clinch too. Those are deadly in his fights. The elbows in the clinch and even the knees whenever his fighter tries to shoot a takedown. He always reads it really good, so his IQ seems really high. The way he knocks his fighters out, it's like he's a step ahead of them, and he knows how to counter. And when he counters it, finishes the fight, given the fact he's won 5 by knockout out of 6 wins, undefeated here. Really good prospect, 26 years old. And I tried to give Brendson Ribeiro some respect and credit going into this one, thought about picking him, but the odds suggest he is going to get knocked out round 1, and that's how I'm going to call it here. Tuchalov takes him out round 1, and maybe he could get the submission in this one. I think he's better everywhere, but clearly 5 knockouts out of the 6 wins. It's going to be a knockout. If it's a submission, I would be shocked. I think Brendson Ribeiro with that Kimura is maybe more live for the submission. On the feet, his IQ is not at the level of a Tuchalov. So I think Brendson Ribeiro's only path might be a round 1 submission. Maybe he could catch him, cold cock him as a 6-1 dog, but I think the price is right here. Tuchalov takes him out round 1 by KO. And we don't even have to see this fight go to the ground. He's just going to be that good on the feet in this one. Maybe he starts using the leg kicks in this fight to take the footing out from Brendson Ribeiro. Looking at Tuchalov and his only submission win, it was not long ago. It was only last year, a rear naked choke round 1. So it's something that we can't really say it's not going to happen or count it out. Submission could be in play here for Tuchalov. Could be a club and sub with his clear advantage on the feet. Brendson Ribeiro, 10 losses, submitted 3 times, knocked out 5 times. 2 decision losses. Both decision losses were split or majority. So I see this one ending inside of the distance. And Ribeiro knocked out 5 times, every time in round 1. Every time he got knocked out, it was in round 1. He was submitted 3 times, twice in round 1. So it could be a club and sub. Like, we can't count it out, but I'm calling the knockout round 1 for Tuchalov in this one, giving a little bit less respect to Ribeiro than I did maybe earlier in the week, pre-tape study. After you watch tape on Tuchalov, you got to think this guy is legit. He trains with Magomed Ankalaev a little bit too, but he actually trains with Islam Makhachev, I did see. So very high-level training partners in this one. And you look at where Brendson Ribeiro's training. Don't quite believe in the Brazilian TKO team right now. You know, they have Bruno, Fieta, a couple other fighters that seen the UFC roster and on the regional scene. I just don't quite believe in this, Jim, the Brazilian TKO team. Yeah, we'll see what happens in this one. Can the dog bark? Let me know in the comments below. I'm going with Tuchalov as a big favorite. And we're going to see a couple more big favorites on this card. About 3 fighters priced around minus 650 or higher on this one. Next up is a lot closer of a fight here between Ismael Bonfim plus 170 and Axel Sola minus 200. Now, off a fight only 4 months ago for Sola, I can still see some visible scar tissue damage, and I wonder if it'll open up because Bonfim is a beast. He can walk forward, and he is definitely a fighter that can open up that scar tissue damage, make Sola bleed, and have more damage at the end of this fight. Even find a knockout on the ground. Sola is less equipped to in this fight rather than Bonfim, who's training with his brother Gabriel a lot and certainly has a good backpack at times. Looking at Sola, I could see him getting submitted and backpack for a little bit, but I don't think he'll give up a bad enough position. He's very technical. He seems very aware in the octagon. And other than getting a lot of damage put on him and his scar tissue opening up, I don't see him having a whole lot of trouble with avoiding the submission or keeping it competitive on the feet. I expect a very competitive fight, but it's the fact that he just fought 4 months ago, and I don't think he's fully healed in this one, and it's going to be a tougher weight cut for him. You know, he's 6 feet tall. In this weight class, he will have the tougher weight cut, and he will have more prior damage. With that fight with Mason Jones, he might not have been knocked out, but the scar tissue is still pretty evident looking at some of his recent pictures. And you look at Ismael Bonfim, he seems to be working on that grappling, his takedowns with Gabriel quite a bit. I got to believe in this underdog. I'm not going to pick a lot, but I do believe this one will bark, and he's kind of in the spot where he's lost his last couple. He lost his last 2. His back might be against the wall for this contract, and I really don't mind backing fighters with their back up against the wall looking to secure a UFC contract. His brother is in the UFC doing very well right now, getting main events. His last 2 did not go his way, to Nazim Sadikov and Chris Taco Padilla. But those are tough fights, in my opinion. You look at the wins for Axel Sola. He beat a 14-6 Reese McKee. That was his only UFC win. How highly can we rate that one? 16-7 at Aries FC. Took him to a unanimous decision a year ago. Knocked out a guy 12-5, Lucas Caio. And then his other win was a guy 5-0. Almost 2 years ago at Aries FC, Axel Sola here. I think his level of competition is kind of low. He is very tough to hold up in that last fight. His striking was there. But looking at the accuracy of these two and the output of these two, I like the numbers for Bonfim. He's going to throw a lot. He does throw a lot. Looking at these numbers, he is pretty accurate too. And I'm going to call him to throw more punches in this fight, land more, and win this one as an underdog. Bonfim off 2 losses certainly has his back up against the wall and hopefully will be barking. He's the pick for Fight Fiend here. Sam Patterson's back. And obviously the UFC is not happy with this kid. The performance he had in that last fight with MVP, the UFC looks at both fighters and say, hey, that wasn't a great one. And I think both guys know that, and they get treated a little different after that fight. Sam Patterson gets an old Ponzinibbio, and MVP gets a tough Ruzaboev, I do believe, is lined up. So getting treated quite differently. Patterson was on a streak. He was busting parlays for some people. He knocked out Danny Barlow, had another good performance too, knocking out a guy where I didn't really expect him to start showing his striking. As on the ground, this kid is very good. And that's where I believe he is best on the ground. But he knocked out Trey Waters right after the Danny Barlow one. And it's like, okay, he can strike. He can counter strike. And he does seem to have a pretty good fighter's awareness, IQ, and ability to read his opponent. And I didn't think I was going to rate him that highly in his debut. And his second fight, I actually was picking against him. In the Kiefer Crosby one, I picked against him too. Yanel Ashmoose knocked him out round 1, and that was his debut where we cashed in, tried to fade him again since, but then he went on a 4-fight win streak, beating Kiefer Crosby by a submission, which I think he is so good at. And then my Canadian was submitted too. And that was the last fight for Johan Lanessi, my Canadian. Got choked out in that one, and it showed the levels that Sam has on the ground. Very good grappler, and the submission threat's there for sure in any fight he is in my opinion. What I didn't expect was his last 2 wins by knockout versus Trey Waters and Barlow, but I guess he can stand and bang too. Credit to him. Ponzinibbio, though, other than getting knocked out in his last fight, and to Kevin Holland, he is pretty durable. And when he gets knocked out in these fights, you can see it's around 3. So he holds up for a lot of the time. In round 1, he's not really getting crazy and throwing wild in the pocket. Later in fights is when he's starting to gas out, leave openings, and be less defensive. Ponzinibbio is a very good fighter, and I feel like he's always durable, poised in the octagon. But given the fact he is slowing down, maybe he leaves more openings and is very slow in this fight early. I'm just going to say he slows down a little later in this one, and we don't see him fall off a cliff yet, as he still is tough. It's going to take quite a bit to get him out of there. And I think he's tougher than a Trey Waters and a still green Danny Barlow. But it's just a fight where he's going to be slowing down. And after round 1, the threat of his knockout versus Patterson really drops quite significantly, the chances of that happening. Like, the percentages will drop after round 1 for Ponzinibbio to win. He will slow down even worse. He has about 5 minutes to work in this fight as a 4-1 underdog, in my opinion, given his age and what we've seen recently. He won just the one fight out of his last 4, and he was knocked out in his last fight a year ago. So starting to be a lot more inactive as well. And the back's not up against the wall. He's just been around. He's a veteran of the UFC at this point, and it's not soon the end, in my opinion, but these are the last couple fights we might see. Off only 1 loss. I think we're going to see consecutive losses. You know what I mean? He's not a guy on 2 consecutive losses, 3 losses in a row. He only lost his last fight. The fight before that, he went out and beat Carlston Harris. So now I can see him pick up maybe another 2-3 consecutive losses in a row, as he only lost his last one. Maybe get one more win. Maybe the UFC goes to Argentina soon and they get a Ponzinibbio fight there, retirement. That'd be really cool. I just see him fighting maybe 2 or 3 more and him slowing down a lot more, as we've seen him get finished in round 3 to Holland and Rodriguez. I would say we see him slow down pretty significantly in a round 2 here. On the mat, I could see Sam being pretty slick as well, getting his reads by round 2 and locking something up. So I would say a round 2 finish is super live. If we get into a round 3, I don't really see Patterson finishing the fight unless Ponzinibbio really slows down. It has to be in round 2 when we start to see him slow down, and that's what I'm going to call a round 2 finish, if not unanimous decision for Sam Patterson. But given the fact, hey, Ponzinibbio won his last fight in round 3 and lost his last 2 in round 3, the last 2 that he lost by finish were in round 3. It could be a round 3, but I'm going to say it's not a round 3. No round 3 call by F3 in this one. It's a round 2 finish for Patterson or a decision. The round 1, he is explosive, I guess, with the strike in round 1, but I don't expect Ponzinibbio to go into this fight with that game plan. The game plan for Ponzinibbio might just be trying to keep it on the feet. Obviously, he doesn't want to go to the ground, in my opinion, with a guy like Sam Patterson. We talked about that submission upside. It's just keep it almost at range here if he can, lacking that reach advantage, trying to close the gap, keep it boxing for the most part. You know what I mean? He has 30 wins, 17 by knockout. So he's almost searching for that knockout in the first 5 minutes, I guess, but without being too overzealous. He can't get too greedy in round 1. He certainly has to be smart at this age, getting knocked out in his last fight. So I just don't see this going really his way at all in any world, as Sam's going to be just a step ahead, faster, being 9 years younger, and less hesitant. He didn't lose his last fight by knockout. He's not at the tail end of his career. I think Sam is going to be fine in this one over Ponzinibbio, who is soon at the end of his career. 39 years old. We've seen it with Cannonier last week. A lot of stalling out, trying to catch your breath after round 1. A little bit of a cardio dump for some of these older fighters. And Patterson, he does have a statement to make off a loss too. And what we've seen before the loss was spectacular, given the fact I might have been on the other side. So credit to Sam. I think he shines here in Abu Dhabi. In Abu Dhabi. Dustin Jacoby. I seen him with a different opponent, But now I believe he's fighting Mohamed Said, 9-0 undefeated here, and he is an underdog plus 170 over Dustin Jacoby. Jacoby is a very good kickboxer, former Glory kickboxer. Won his last 3 on a big win streak here. Hard not to pick against him at minus 200. It's a fair price. It's a great price. And I can see him knocking out Mohamed Said. But that's before tape study. When I see the tape study, this guy is very aggressive. His kicks are phenomenal. Mohamed Said could end this fight by knockout. And it's hard to count him out just given the fact that, hey, his strength of schedule isn't as good. He hasn't fought the level of competition. Yeah, he's beaten up, pretty low-level competition, Mohamed Said, but he's doing what he's supposed to do, and that's the main thing. These guys aren't great that he's beaten. He took one of them to a decision, but his striking is very clean. It's in Abu Dhabi where he's training. He's from Russia. But I think he has a chance to land something in this fight. It's almost a puncher's chance, though. He's also training at Gore MMA with a lot of the guys on this card, training at a high level. He could surprise people in this fight. And one of the reasons why I said, you know what, I'll just pick him to win over to the Dustin Jacoby side, minus 200, was the price, plus 170 and 85% taking Jacoby. I thought the odds could be a little bit wider towards Dustin Jacoby, and if they were, I'd probably make him my pick. If the odds maybe pull heavy towards Dustin Jacoby, I'll switch up my pick on this one. But based off judging the odds versus public opinion on Tapology, I'm going to take the other side. I'll go with the 15% plus 170 here. The odds seem close. Something seems a little fishy here. He's kind of a hometown guy. He is explosive on the feet, undefeated. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Has went 15 minutes once before his second last fight, showing he does have 15-minute cardio, 6 knockouts out of those 9 wins. And he has 4 wins in round 2, 4 in round 1. So he's not just a round 1 or bust type of fighter. So I really like his aggressiveness, his kicks in this fight, and his amateur fights. He only had 3 of them. His last one was versus a heavyweight, Rizvan Kuniev. So he's been in there with some very good competition too. It was the amateur scene 2018, but he was in there with a guy on this card, Rizvan Kuniev, who's a big heavyweight. He's a big boy and was 8-2 at the time. 2-0 was Mohamed Said. So that's a very impressive fight on his amateur record there. It's showing up as a loss, but good experience there. He's doing what he's supposed to do. He has those spinning heel kicks, head kicks. You're seeing a lot of those on the record in his highlights. I really like his kicks in this fight. A couple triangle chokes in there too. Maybe he can take Jacoby to the ground, right? He has 2 submissions by triangle too. So does he want to bring that out? Possibly. Has Jacoby hurt? Maybe he can get the takedown, find it on the mat. Jacoby has 1 submission win and 2 submission losses. So that's clearly a path that Mohamed Said could take in this fight. Just go for that submission. And if it goes the distance, are they going to take the hometown side? Be a little biased. You look at Dustin Jacoby by a decision, it's not a pretty record, 6-5. 50-50 basically by a decision as Dustin Jacoby. And given the fact it's in Abu Dhabi, I'll play that into a factor in my pick here. I'm going with underdog. Maybe a decision, maybe a finish, as Jacoby has been knocked out twice recently to Dominic Reyes in round 1. Yeah, we could have a live dog here. The odds are closer than Tapology picks. So that's one of the key reasons why I did end up siding with underdog, but this might be one of the least confident picks. It's still low confidence for paid members on the Platinum picks. So check out the Platinum picks, forecast forensic cheat sheets on Patreon for the official outcomes, confidence levels, and percentage of confidence out of 100 I have in these fighters to win. I rank my percentages out of 100 high, medium, low confidence. I give you the exact outcome with the round. So check out the Platinum Picks Forecast Forensic Tools in Patreon. That's 2 or 3 dogs right there. We're taking Cody Gibson, Mohamed Sayyid, and Ismael Bonfim. But moving up the card, I do like favorites pretty much the rest of the way. Stay forecasted to hear if I do side with another underdog, but it could be like last week where maybe 1 or 2 underdogs bark early, and then favorites pretty well take off the rest of the night. So let's keep forecasting these fights. Please like and subscribe the video. Thanks everybody tuning in to the full card prediction show for UFC Fight Night. Magomed Ankalaev and short notice Bogdan Guskov from Uzbekistan. Another Uzbekistan in the co-main event. So thanks everybody staying forecasted in this one. Is the prelim headliner of the event. Looking at it here. So we got Valter Walker at -200 over Thomas Peterson, the +170 dog, who can wrestle. And can he avoid a submission is another thing. I know he can wrestle, but I don't know if he can avoid a submission, let alone a heel hook early from Valter Walker, the way he gets after it, the way he can go for it and lock it up. It's a problem for a lot of guys in this division. 4 wins in a row by heel hook, round 1 with no struggle is an indication he has something a lot of people don't in this division. He has like a fucking magical card in his furry vest that he pulls out, and it works on a lot of people. And when will it not work is the question. Right here, right now, is when it doesn't work. I think Peterson is good enough to avoid that round 1 heel hook. I'll say that. All right, the magical card out of the fur coat ain't going to work in this fight. Peterson is good enough to avoid the submission, but I don't think he's good enough to win the fight. And I'm honestly going to say he might not be good enough to avoid the submission the whole 15 minutes, as Valter is going to go for it. He is going to be in multiple submission attempts, possibly if it goes 15 minutes, and I would be sweating if we had the decision. But I do believe Walker will win a decision in this fight. His last 4 were all round 1 heel hooks. He hasn't had a struggle. When we've seen him struggle was his debut. And yeah, outside of round 1, he starts to slow down. If he can't get the submission, it's a completely different fight. And we just have not seen that fight yet. So if we don't see the heel hook, I think he can grind out to a decision. He's training at Gore MMA. His brother, Johnny Walker, would have him well trained, the little training that they might do. But the other guys that he's training with are at a high level, like the guy in the main event, Bogdan Guskov. Valter Walker is pretty well-rounded in this fight. And I think his striking will be better than Thomas Peterson. Like I said, Peterson's a wrestler. He's going to try to wrestle, but his striking's pretty sloppy. And unfortunately, that's probably what he's going to look to do in this fight, because if he does wrestle, he's going to potentially get caught into some submission attempts and be stuck on bottom versus the bigger frame 6'6" Valter Walker, who's 5 inches taller and has almost a 5-inch reach advantage. So on the ground, I do believe Valter Walker can control his positions, get into submission opportunities. Not sure if he can fully finish it. And I don't know if he's going to get 5 consecutive heel hooks round 1. I don't believe Thomas Peterson is just like a low-level heavyweight guy. He can wrestle. He is somewhat respectful. He won his last fight, but on the feet, he is a little bit sloppy. He is there to be knocked out. I haven't seen Valter really show us this knockout power and phenomenal striking yet to prove he can knock out Thomas Peterson, but he can beat him by a decision, winning minutes, getting big takedowns, outstriking him in moments, in my opinion. Peterson's only 3-3 in the UFC, and you got Valter Walker with that lone loss in his debut. Since then, all heel hooks round 1. This might be the one fight where we see him tested outside of that first round, maybe a decision fight as he improves 5-1 in the decision column and 5-1 in the UFC here. I do like that submission in round 1, but after round 1, if he doesn't get that sub heel by heel hook. It has to be by heel hook too, right? Not just a submission round one, a heel hook round one within the first 2 minutes, right? If he doesn't get the heel hook in the first 2 minutes, it's a decision, in my opinion, all night. He improves 5-1 in the decision column and 5-1 in the UFC versus Thomas Peterson. Peterson might just be stuck striking, where I think he's sloppy, and that's unfortunate for him because he's not a bad fighter in this division. He will be around for a while, in my opinion. He's been knocked out 3 times. Not a great look. And he lost to Jamal Pogues by a decision, so I don't think it would be too hard for Valter Walker 15-1 to win a decision. Jamal Pogues was 10-4 at the time there. Looking at Thomas Peterson too, he has 1 submission win, 7 knockouts. Never submitted, but certainly not as strongest suit here on the ground is Thomas Peterson, right? He only has the 1 submission win. He's more of a wrestler than a submission grappler. He might just be trying to strike in this fight, make it sloppy and dirty on the feet, try to gas out Valter Walker, where Peterson might think he has that advantage here, seeing that Brzeski fight. But for the most part, I think Peterson gets beat up for 15 minutes if he doesn't get heel hooked in that first round or knocked out, because he's been knocked out 3 times out of those 4 losses. And Peterson, like I'm saying, he's a sloppy striker. He is liable to get knocked out in a lot of these fights, just like the opponents of Valter Walker are liable to get submitted by heel hook in the first 2 minutes of the fight. So very interesting one here. A little bit of clash of styles and clash of outcomes. So it's kind of tricky to pick a prop on this one. Looking at the prop being show props of the week, probably just steer away on this one. But for a lock of the week, -200, I think Valter Walker is a great pick this week on the prelim headliner. He'll pass the test versus Thomas Peterson. He'll pass the test in this one. F3 is here, breaking down the full card UFC Abu Dhabi, and you got to make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Stay forecasted for later shows throughout the week. Tuesday, we're live for the Quick Picks show. I have a couple guests joining me, and we're going to give out multiple picks from other cappers, talk about each and every fight once again real quick. And we're live every event Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Same time Friday, 4 p.m. We're going to run a second Prop Fiend show, and then we're live again later at night, 9 p.m. Eastern time. Now stay forecasted. $50 to the winner of the fantasy draft, which we're running right after the first Prop Fiend show on Friday. So if you want to join that fantasy draft, join Discord. It's free. Discord is absolutely free. And we have a fantasy draft channel if you want to join the fantasy draft. If you want the free bets from MMA Toad and Prelim Tim, you join Discord for free. We got cappers in Discord. We have great community members in Discord. Community is a part of some of these shows too. So stay forecasted in the live chat, and you can join the fantasy draft. Just message me or Prelim Tim, or join Discord for free and check out that channel for the fantasy draft. Like and subscribe. We're on the rise. F3 is here, and MMA Toad, Prelim Tim are in that Discord for free. Live streams throughout the week with multiple other collaborations and great guests like Icy MMA, MMA Fiends, Tape to Talk. The list goes on. We got Curry Ninja, Arkansas MMA. We had Rabbit Season on a show. We have a couple other girls that might be joining us, joining some collabs. It's a great time here with the Fight Fiend forecast. And thanks to everybody tuning in, staying forecasted, being positive in the community, and helping us make profit. Everybody is a part of the community and has a say, has a input on these fights along with an opinion. So it's all respected and heard. Let's go F3. Let's keep making noise. Let's hear you in that comment section. We need to get the comments and the algorithm really going towards the roof. Let's raise it. Let's go. We got Abubakar, Vagaev, and Saygid Izagakhmaev. This is a very fun fight here, and odds aren't out yet, so I'm going to say Vagaev is a slightly 3-1 favorite. Minus 200 range, I would say, for Vagaev, who trains with Chimaev here, and won his last number of fights by a decision, 5-rounders, 25 minutes. Tough tape study. Yep, especially when it's late at night and you're almost falling asleep. This was the fight. Yeah, I fell asleep watching Vagaev decisions, but I think he should be good enough to win a decision here in this fight. Although it might not be fun, it might be a bit of a wet blanket. He'll win, most likely, and will be favored when bookies open the official odds on this one over Saygid Izagakhmaev. In his fight there, Saygid lost a split decision. It was competitive with Nicholas Dalby, but probably a fight he should have won. Losing moments in that fight. He's probably going to lose minutes in this fight to Abubakar Vagaev, who trains with Chimaev. Just a guy trained at a high level. Looks like he's at a high level and has beat high-level competition by a decision, which were 25-minute rounds. His cardio is better. He can keep it up late in fights, and I think for all 15 minutes of this one, he will be winning rounds, possible 30-27 here for him. Khamzat will have him ready to go. His grappling will be a step ahead. His wrestling will be a step ahead. And his striking should be a step ahead from what we've seen in Saygid in that last fight with Nicholas Dalby. So I'm going to have to say Vagaev is a minus 200 favorite, cleanly wins this one by a decision. I don't have much information to tell me otherwise. He can get the finish or Saygid can upset because Vagaev, last number of fights here, last 3, all decisions, very competitive and at a high level. Strength of schedule is very good too. His loss was by knockout 3 years, 7 months ago at ACA, where he is the champ, right? He can be cold cocked. He can lose, but Saygid hasn't won in 3 years and 7 months. Before the fight with Nicholas Dalby 7 months ago, that was his last fight 3 years, 7 months ago. He wasn't active since 4 years ago. 4 years ago, he was active, Saygid. But in 2026, 2025, 2024, this guy was not active, not doing anything. He's only 31. That's a tough time to not be active in sport. He could have been doing some other things like grappling, staying active, but looking at it here, just a one grappling match. Got the armbar round 1. He does have a lot of finish wins too. 12 submissions, 4 knockouts out of his 22 wins. Saygid Izagakhmaev. But I do believe he will be a step below Vagaev in this fight. Maybe not that far off. Maybe he only loses by a point on the judges' scorecards. Maybe he can pull the upset, as originally I thought he would win this fight. But I think he might just be a step below, given the fact where Vagaev's training and his cardio. Being able to win decisions is not a bad thing. He has been more active too. So I'm going to trust in him to win unless he does get finished in this fight. For Saygid Izagakhmaev, this is really another chance, a second impression. Maybe the first fight just wasn't the best showing from him. As I said, he has a lot of submission wins. He could be the guy more live for the finish in this fight. So if you're really looking at attacking a hedge bet on this one, I don't think it's a bad idea. And if you have Izagakhmaev as your pick, I don't think that's a bad thing either. I might even hedge on him by a finish in this one, maybe a submission. Looking at Abubakar here, 4 losses, 3 of them by knockout though. Never submitted, only has the 1 submission win. Lacking that finishing upside for sure. So maybe you just be safe inside the distance with Saygid. He does have those knockouts, but only 4 of them, right? On the feet, doesn't look like he's very capable of getting the knockout. Doesn't seem like he has the power to find a knockout. It's more on the ground where he's finding the win by finish, especially recently, right? When he was active in 2021, 4 years ago. Had a lot of Durst choke, Bravo, rear naked chokes. So no stranger on the ground, but it might be a tough time controlling position there versus a Vagaev, who's going to be the better wrestler. grappler, in my opinion. Just a step ahead in this fight is hopefully the minus 200 favorite. We'll see where these bookies open it, and we'll see how this fight goes down here. It could be very competitive, very fun one on the main card, but I don't expect it to be entertaining. It could just be a wet blanket fest here in this one. If there is a finish to occur, let me say it's the underdog, but I'm not confident with that. Vagaev has only been knocked out 3 times, lost 1 decision, never submitted. And I feel like the submission is where Saygid would have to go. And on the feet, I don't trust in him to get the knockout. So given the fact Vagaev, if he was to lose, is probably by knockout, and Saygid probably can't get the knockout, I'm pretty confident Vagaev is going to win this fight by a decision. And unfortunately, he might not have been signed unless the UFC was going to Abu Dhabi 3 times a year now. Like, with this style, like the decisions, that's mostly how he's going to win his fights. 24 wins, 19 of them by a decision, pretty much the same way. 18 unanimous. That's not what the UFC is looking for at all. And I think they're just going to sign him because they're in this region. He was a champ at ACA. He's with Hamzat. We'll see if he can work on his finishing upside. But from what I've seen in this tape study research, it should be a decision in this one. And Vagaev should be the clear side by a decision. If Saygid wins by a decision, wouldn't be shocked. But I do believe he's more of a finisher here on the ground. But he is 6-2, going the distance, Saygid. And this fight really isn't in any man's favor in this territory. Both guys should be favored, have fans in the crowd, be favored by judges. So I don't really play the judges into factor, giving a pick on this one. The judges shouldn't be in favor of either guy. They're both from the same region in this one. Pretty fair fight. Even territory. I'm going Vagaev. Minus 200 in his debut. Not a guy that the UFC would typically sign, but he signed without a Dana White's Contender Series fight because, you know, they normally don't sign guys like this, and they wouldn't want that on the Contender Series anyways. Like I said, this is probably just a signing because they're going to Abu Dhabi, fighting in this region a few times a year now. They need a couple guys like this. He is the ACA champion, so they're going to pick him up as he trains with Hamzat. I expect him just to ride out a couple decisions, though. We'll see what he makes of his UFC career. If he can find a couple finishes or not, I'm going to say he's going to ride these decisions out, potentially get cut. UFC moves on from him. Would not even be shocked if Vagaev loses here in this one. Very tough fight to call. One I won't have too much action on. First fight on the main card. No siree. Second fight on the main card, we're looking at Rizvan, Kuniev, and Tyrell Fortune. And Fortune, he fought his pro debut in Bellator. He was there for a long time. And he's a very good wrestler. He can mix it up pretty good with his striking too. On the feet, he does set it up pretty good with his striking. Unfortunately, his striking, in my opinion, is not as powerful as Rizvan Kuniev here. Kuniev should be able to club him at some point in this fight. I would say early, kind of like his Dana White's Contender Series fight. His last 2 went the distance. Curtis Blades lost that one, beat Jailton Almeida in his last one. So I'm going to expect a finish from him in this fight over Tyrell Fortune, who was finished in round 1 the last 2 times he lost. So when he loses, it's typically by finish, and it's typically in round 1. So I like Kuniev round 1 to really club him here. He's been training with Magomed Ankalaev thoroughly throughout the camp. I should have him ready to go in this one. He has a win over Renan Fieta. Had some low-level wins on the regional scene, but really doing what he was supposed to do on that regional scene, just like Tyrell Fortune, who's won his last 4 fights, really doing what he's supposed to do. But the level of competition I don't rate too highly. 9 months ago at Lights Out, he beat a guy 9-6. He was unsigned between the PFL and the UFC for 3 fights at Lights Out and Rough Nation, and he fought a guy 65-32 and 20-12. Like, his level of competition is very low compared to Rizvan Kuniev, given the price of this fight where the bookies have it. The last 2 times he lost by finish round 1. I think he's in big trouble here, as Rizvan Kuniev is a big boy. He's training with one of the best in the light heavyweight division. Main event of this event, Magomed Ankalaev. I'm going to call him to win this fight round 1 KO, just like he knocked out Hugo Kuna in that Dana White Contender Series fight 1 year, 10 months ago. Big elbow from Rizvan in the clinch. Floored Kuna in that one. I think we're going to see a more aggressive Kuniev in this fight. This is his 3rd UFC fight. First 2 went the distance. First debut was a loss. Split decision to Curtis Blades. He has fought at a very high level already. Jailton Almeida, Curtis Blades versus Merson Tybura. You've already seen Kuniev fight tougher fights. And Tyrell in that last one went the distance 3 months ago. Wasn't overly impressive, in my opinion. Barely got it done. I was surprised it was unanimous as well. I think that's something I had on my notes. Like, that could have been a split majority. Could have even went to the other side, potentially. Might have been a fight that was super close. I think it should have been split at least. And I think I was surprised when Tyrell Fortune won unanimously in his debut there. And that might have been the fight that I had Tybura and prelim Tim had Fortune, and we might have done like some kind of collab head-to-head or some kind of disagreement on that one. I don't know if it was a pants beer, something like that. Could have been pants beer, Shuey, on that one. The last time Fortune fought, I remember something like that with prelim Tim. I feel like I remember that. So I'm going to have to fade Fortune here. In his debut, I didn't quite believe in him. And the level of competition, strength of schedule, training partners, just at a different level than Rizvan Kuniev, who I think will start to get his feet under him in this heavyweight division, start to make a run, and we'll see what he can do at 265 when they weigh in. Let's look at the latest weight for these two guys, too. You got Fortune weighing in around 250. If he can get to 250, his last weigh-in was 248, so pretty close to 250 pounds there. And you got Kuniev pushing the scales at 264. This is a big boy here in Kuniev. I'm calling him to get that knockout. Club him round 1. Take him to the golf course. Teach him how to swing. Next one is a warrior from Poland here. Train with Ilya Topuria, and that's what a lot of people will mention. But train with Ilya, I don't know if it's going to make him really competitive in a fight like this to Magomed Zaynukov, Jean Bork. Zaynukov here trains with Islam Makhachev, and although he hasn't been active wrestling before he got into that mix, he was more of a striker, 2-time Muay Thai champion. He has been more familiar with stuffing takedowns and stopping them rather than going for them. I think on the feet where Damian is going to want to keep the fight is where Zaynukov will be ahead the whole time. On the feet, in the striking department, being that 2-time Muay Thai champion, I think he can mix in those kicks consistently and have the cardio for 15 minutes to outstrike. I want to say Rebeski, but it's Rezpeki in this one. Damian Rezpeki should be getting outstriked for 15 minutes in this one. I think he's very good. He's 10-0 undefeated. Trains with Ilya. Has those body shots kind of like Ilya. But I mean, I do believe he lacks speed in this fight and he lacks power. He has a lot of combinations and fluid strikes, but his power could be lacking at times where Zaynukov can slow him down with the power, the kicks to the midsection, kind of take the wind out with these liver kicks of Damian, who will be looking for the body shots, but closing the range, I guess, might not be a problem for him. Looking at Damian Rezpeki here, he's going to have a 6-inch reach advantage So closing that gap, finding body shots of his own might not be a problem. Looking at the power, I think John Pork packs that. But this is still a competitive fight. Both guys undefeated, right? And it's a wide line, no doubt. Zaynukov is minus 370. That is a quite wide line. It could just be based on him training with Islam Makhachev, just based on him training at that camp with those guys. The line could be reflective based off that alone. So you never know where they're getting this number from. Off tape study, you're going to price this fight a lot closer. And I talked to a guy that I really respect in the game, my friend Dicey MMA, and he said Damian Rezpecki is very good, could be live to win this fight. You never know. Looks very good on film. Obviously a wide line for Zaynukov. But yeah, John Pork should go out here, put on a performance in the striking department and be a step ahead in this fight, winning by a decision. Possible that he gets the knockout, in my opinion. I think he has the power upside in this fight. He has the takedown defense to keep it standing. So very fun fight in his official debut. He's not getting someone with UFC experience. I think they're going to build him up the right way. Islam Makhachev speak very highly of him. So I'm going to have to believe in Islam's words. This could be a future champion someday. And I think he will shine in this fight for sure. The Ilia Topuria camp, I can't say, are on a great run right now off Ilya's performance recently. I don't think Damian was helping him with that Gaethje fight. I mean, he helped him lose, if anything, right? Ilya didn't do a whole lot in the striking department. He looked career worse. And if he's training with Damian, if that's one of his main training partners, well, let's see what he does in this one, because I think he will look something like Ilya after 15 with John Pork. He's the play here. High confidence, Zaynukov. I'd be upset if he lost his debut. I'm going to give him a higher ceiling in this fight, although it's his debut, although we don't know much about both guys, and they're both really good off tape study and undefeated. I'm going to say John Pork has the higher ceiling, and he eats in this fight. Not pork. He's going to eat some lamb. Or do they eat lamb? What do they eat? Kraft dinner? Maybe he just likes Kraft dinner. Mac and cheese. Grilled cheese type of guy. I don't know what he eats. He doesn't like pork. Don't call him John Pork. It's Janko. It's Janko. Call him Janko. Yeah, we got the fashion model. The Walk of Fame here. Islam Dulatov. What's so fun about this guy, he is a killer on the feet, nicknamed the Ripper, and he's not afraid to put his moneymaker on the table, get hurt, get punched in the face. And although he's a model and stuff like that, he is a serious fighter, and he doesn't fight like he is scared in there, like he is some kind of pretty boy. He looks like a legit fighter and prospect. We'll see if he stays active and what he does with his UFC career. Obviously right now, man, minus 750, minus 800 range. Bookies think highly of him. Everyone's going to think highly of him. Everyone's calling him around 1 KO, I would say, this week. And rightfully so. Look at the last fight for Wellington Turman. He got submitted to Jared Gooden, who's not even in the UFC anymore, I don't think. I'm almost positive in saying that. Jared Gooden got cut twice. And Wellington Turman got choked out in that one. Not a good look. Almost 3 years ago. He's only coming back to give Dulatov an easy win in round 1, because I expect a lot of decisions on this event potentially, and you need a sparker round 1. Here it is. Dulatov is going to spark him round 1, and I don't see anything else happening in this fight. Look at the odds in this one. Look at the last couple performances for Dulatov. He ran through Adam Fugit a lot quicker than a lot of other prospects did in that last one only 11 months ago. He's seeming to be more active now. He's back 11 months later. I thought he would be back pretty quick after that last win, but he had more time to train. Maybe we'll see him improve even more. Like 11 months is a long time off without any injuries. He should be improving a lot with his time off, training hard. Hopefully he's not spending too much time modeling. Hopefully it's going into training and stuff like that, because his ceiling is really high, and this is a very, very easy fight for him. This is one where we call it ending within 10, 20 seconds. Look at the odds. Look at his last couple fights. He's going to run through them. Round 1 KO, the Ripper is the call, and he has 5 submission wins too, so let's not forget. He has 7 knockouts, 5 submissions, 100% finish rate. So we can't get overly confident or overly exposed with the round 1 KO. Round 1 is the play. I think it's the safer play rather than the round 1 KO straight up, just because he has those 5 submissions to go along with the 7 KOs. Obviously falling in love on the feet, but we do see these fighters start to mix it up a bit once they start knocking a bunch of guys out. Maybe there's too much money on the knockout, and he just gets the submission round 1. And then you're looking back like, shit, like I had the round 1 very confidently, but I got greedy with the KO. Well, depending on the odds, the round 1 prop could be within 10, 20 cents of the round 1 KO. And then you could just take the round 1, play that, and hedge with, not even hedge with, just sprinkle on the round 1 submission if it's a good number. Always play the number, look at the odds, see what kind of money you can make, see what kind of juice is on the board. Because, I mean, you can get lucky sometimes. We had some crazy calls live during the watch parties, and then during the Prop Fiend show, we call some pre-props, some value props, very valuable ones throughout the week here given out on the show. So maybe a submission is a value prop this week for Dulatov, as he's fallen in love on the feet, won his last 3 by knockout, all round 1. I don't think anything will change, but let's talk about his other wins, like the guillotine round 1, the arm triangle round 1, the Darce chokes round 1. He is super capable round 1. Wellington Turman, his 8 losses. He's seen 2 knockout losses, 1 submission loss, and then 5 decision losses. So is it even a fight where Wellington Turman's tough enough to go the distance? I don't really think so, given the long layoff and the fact he was submitted to a Jared Gooden in his last fight. I'm going to say a round 1. And even look at the Jared Gooden one. It was a submission, right? So the fact that Dulatov won his last 3 by KO, he's fallen in love on the feet. Let's not be overly confident in that. Let's not be overly confident he's just going to go out here and knock out Wellington Turman. Could be another submission. I like the round 1 first off in this one, and that would be the official parlay piece, I would say. And let's look later in the week, compare the odds with the round 1 KO with the round 1 straight up. Is it even worth being greedy for it? Sometimes it's not at all. When there's only a couple cents in the difference, you're best to play both sides, and you can see that price similarity with inside the distance bet with maybe a knockout win. Maybe the fighter's so likely to win by knockout that him to win inside the distance is a similar number, and it just covers both sides. It's much safer. You never know when they could switch it up or club and sub. Someone could be very hurt and wobbled on the feet, and then the submission's just right there, an easy way to finish it, easy way to grab your first one. You want to try it out. You have them really hurt. You never know. It's always best when the odds are close, just to be safe. If you don't know, now you know. You should know. If you're here listening to the Full Card Prediction Show, you should have somewhat of a sense to be smart, but I have been greedy myself. Don't get it wrong. That's why I'm giving you this advice, because sometimes I've been greedy taking that round 1 KO when the just round 1 prop's been so similar in price, and he got the round 1 sub. And I'm looking back like, yeah. So that's why I give it that advice right here, right now. We'll see what the odds are later in the week on this Dulatov round 1 KO and submission versus the round 1. Obviously, inside the distance is going to be minus 500, not even worth looking at. It's free, like his money line. Very close fight, the closest fight to call on this one. It's a coin flip. It's priced a coin flip. And we got Steve Ursag, Ramazan Tamirov. Very tough fight for me to call here. One of my least confident picks, the least confident pick on the main card. So breaking it down, I do see it going the distance. Hometown judges could be biased towards the Uzbekistan side, and we could see an Uzbekistan takeover with 2 of them in the last 2 fights. Co-main event, we got Tamirov, and main event, we got Guskov. I could see a world where both of them win. and money came in on Tamirov. He was an underdog. It's now a coin flip. Who knows? By Friday, Saturday, fight night, he could be the favorite, and respect to him. Nice win in his last fight. Looking very good here in the UFC. His boxing's clean. He hasn't been fast-tracked, getting too tough of matchups, always getting the right test at the right time. And at this point, it seems like Steve Erceg is the next test, and it's not too tough of a test. It's not a push for Tamirov. So I think he's live in this fight. It's tough for me to call. I like Erceg. I like his defensive abilities in this fight. I've seen more from him. I'll have to pick him with low confidence to win this one by a decision. I do believe it goes the distance either way. Looking at Tamirov, I don't trust his finishing upside if he can't finish Charles Johnson. I would say it's going to be pretty hard to finish Steve Erceg. He has 7 decision wins, 11 knockout wins. Knockout or decision is a safe play for Tamirov in this fight. We've seen Erceg hurt on the feet before. We've seen him knocked out before, and it could happen again, no doubt. Tamirov is also active in the grappling department. Just went to a majority draw in February with Azat Maxim, who's currently 15-3 on a 3-fight skid, though, in the UFC, and maybe that wasn't a great draw looking back. So Steve Erceg on the ground should be able to be pretty decent. He has 6 submission wins and only 2 knockouts. Normally when you watch Steve fight, you would think the opposite, but on the ground, he is pretty slick. You've seen with Pantoja, a very close fight, and to score it, some would say different than others. Very close fight between Steve Erceg and Pantoja. He has the 6 submissions. His grappling is underrated. And going to a draw with Azat Maxim recently in grappling, I mean, it's a bit of a head scratcher. I got to think Steve's ahead on the ground if it goes there, and I think his takedown defense will hold up, especially from what we've seen in Pantoja fight for the belt. It might have been an undeserving fast track to the belt, but he's still a damn good fighter, and I don't know if he was the prospect to get fast tracked. It might have been undeserving for sure, but he is well-rounded, very well-rounded. He's proven to at this point. And I just have to go with the guy that's more proven and has shown me more. I've seen more from him, although he's been knocked out to Kai Kara-France. I think might be the only way he loses is getting cold cocked or knocked out at some point in this fight, as if it goes the distance, I believe he will be the fighter a step ahead. That last fight with Tim Elliott and Ode Osborne, though, the last 2 for Steve Erceg here, they were decisions. They weren't really impressive wins looking back, so the confidence is not high in this pick, and I could see him losing this fight. One I won't have action on. There's 2 or 3 fights I really don't want any action on, and this is certainly one here. If you have the Ramazan Tamirov side, credit to you, and if you have the Uzbek in the next fight to match with it, credit to you. What a big price this is for the short notice fighter Bogdan Guskov. Oh my God. He's a 5-1 dog versus Magomed Ankalaev. And this is a fighter in Ankalaev that has only finished some pretty low-level competition. Looking back at it, you can't trust in his finish and upside. He does have these nice front kicks, leg kicks. He is a very powerful striker, 11 knockouts, 10 decisions. But recently, the only guys he's finishing is Johnny Walker in round 2, an Iwan Kutalaba, an Anthony Smith. He's not putting out high-level talent, although he had Pereira hurt at times. A couple more seconds in a round there, he would have knocked out Alex Pereira. Unfortunately, in that last fight, though, he was knocked out round 1. There are some speculation and rumors going around that, hey, he was sick, not feeling great, not a great camp, and I can believe that. Didn't look like the normal Ankalaev in that last fight. But with that being said, I don't think the UFC is looking to push this guy a whole lot. I don't think he's a huge entertainer. I think he's pretty dry when you're trying to promote him, and they've certainly struggled with that. But I do like Magomed Ankalaev, and they're just not doing a good job promoting him and building his brand. He doesn't do a great job of it either, but he is at a high level. He is one of the best in the division, and you got to give credit where credit's due. He is a great fighter. His IQ is high. You would love to see him I shouldn't say that. You probably don't want to see him knock out high-level talent because you probably think he's boring and shouldn't be a champion or get close to it again. A lot probably cheering for Guskov just from a fan perspective. And hey, I think he is live. He has the finishing upside, no doubt, in this fight. And he might have the UFC in his corner saying, we would rather see you move up this division and be exciting than this guy, Ankalaev. You hear people talk about him. Even Jamal Hill had some bad things to say about Ankalaev. They just don't think highly of him. Not much good things to say, but I'm going to pick him to win this fight. I think he could knock out Guskov just with the short notice matchup. But hey, what an easy, favorable matchup for Ankalaev. You get a short notice fighter here in Guskov who lost to Volkan Ozdemir by a submission, doesn't really have that high-level experience yet. The wins for Guskov were Nikita Krylov, Billy Elikana, Ryan Spann, Zach Paga. You look at the Blachowicz fight. Blachowicz is 42 years old. He's in his 40s, man. Good job, former champion Blachowicz, who's 43 now, to be exact. Yeah, there's no doubt a young, hungry Guskov, new to the UFC, was going to push in that fight. And in a rematch, I was picking Bogdan Guskov to beat Blachowicz. That one got canceled. We got him stepping in here now with Magomed Ankalaev, and it's a tough one for him. Stylistically, it's very tough getting a guy so high up in the division when you're lined up to fight a 43-year-old Jan Blachowicz. I think Bogdan is getting a little fast-tracked in this fight, but he has the chance. He has a puncher's chance in this fight. He has the right hand that ended Krylov's night. His guillotine choke with Billy Elikana worked, but I don't see him submitting Magomed Ankalaev in this fight. Ankalaev will be too strong in clinch on ground with takedown defense. I don't see Ankalaev getting taken down versus Guskov. I would see him potentially getting cold cocked, if anything, with that right hand of Guskov. But even that, in my opinion, is a moonshot. With a full camp, I still don't think I would pick Bogdan Guskov in this fight, although maybe the UFC wants to push him more. Maybe he does have that finishing upside. Maybe he's more aggressive going for the finish. But looking at the gas tank, I think Ankalaev has it, and the counter strike, and I think he has it. If he was to knock out Guskov, I'm not shocked. I might actually pick Ankalaev by knockout rather than a decision. We'll see how it goes later in the week. I think Ankalaev could knock out Guskov. It would not shock me with a counter shot, Guskov getting over aggressive. I don't think he's going to be caught overextending, as his reach isn't too big and he's not the longest fighter, but just getting over aggressive, maybe dipping his head the wrong way, maybe shooting a takedown, maybe just gassing himself out because his game plan isn't working. That's where I see Guskov getting finished by knockout in this fight. And I would say it would be later unless he does get crazy round one and get caught with a counter. I would be more apt to see Guskov gassing out and getting finished rather than making a mistake early, as this is a big opportunity for him. I think he's just going to be failing on his game plan. He won't be able to execute these takedowns on Ankalaev. He won't be able to close range. He'll keep getting hit with these kicks. I think the kicks will be a big problem in this one, and Ankalaev will be en route to a pretty easy win at minus 550. And we'll see where the odds go here. Maybe there's some love coming back on Bogdan Guskov, the Uzbekistan, because in that co-main event, we seen the love go towards Uzbekistan. It's funny that we got two of them to finish the night, so let's keep an eye on them for sure. I'm going to say they both lose, though, here in Abu Dhabi. I'm going to say we see some high-level fights as well, a lot that go the distance, but expect some finishes on this event. I think all knockouts that I did call here in Abu Dhabi were in round 1, too, to make note of that. I think we see some quick finishes, we see some highlights, and we see some prospects really make a name for themselves. Some guys we're not quite familiar with yet. After doing tape study, we get a sense of what we're ready to expect. But once we see them make their UFC debut and fight in front of us, I think some of them have a bright future here in the UFC, and others maybe they get a shot on Dana White's Contenders Series. Maybe they get a couple fights and then cut from the UFC. Maybe this is the last fight night for some fighters on the roster, as we did talk about a couple old guys too. So it's always an interesting fight week, no matter where we're at in the world. The big thing is Fight Fiends are here having fun and the community's growing. So join the Prop Fiends later this week. We got a show 4 p.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. Prop Fiends are live every event, along with Tuesday. We're live every event for the Quick Pick show with multiple cappers. We're going live, giving you the pick. We got Tape to Talk, MMA Fiends going live with me tomorrow. We're doing the Quick Picks Tuesday, 4 p.m., possibly 5 p.m. Eastern time. Please stay forecasted and subscribe. Suplex slam that subscribe button. F3 is here, and get that energy drink into you. Re-energize off a week, rather if it was good or bad. Just re-energize, recalculate, and let's get right back to work. We're in Abu Dhabi. It's always fun, but you always need that refreshment, that day off, that extra bit of sleep. So let's regroup after last week, rather if it was good for you. Really good. One of the best weeks ever. A sweep like MMA Fiends. Or if it was one of the worst weeks you've ever had, like I'm not sure who. But if you just had a bad week in general, let's regroup here. If you had a phenomenal week and swept the card, just regroup, re-energize. Cheers to you. Cheers to me. Let's go F3. Woo! You always got to get excited when it's fight week and content's coming out. F3 likes to keep it electric, have the fun, keep it entertaining, and keep shows going throughout the week. So this is Monday, full card prediction show. We talked about a Tuesday show. We got a Matchmaker Mayhem coming out live Thursday. 2 shows Friday. Live during the fight Saturday. It's a very busy week with lots going on. Pleased to have you a part of the community. Honored to have you a part of the community. And the community keeps growing in the Discord. So smash the links in that description below. Join Discord. Become a forecaster. It's for everyone. Instagram, X, Telegram, TikTok. We're there too. Check us out on all platforms. Like I said, F3 is here. Tuesday, baby. Let's keep growing this thing. It takes 2. So you got to please comment below. Help that algorithm. Help us grow. And if you have not yet, subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends. Tell your mother. Tell your father. Fucking subscribe to the Fight Fiend Forecast Mode. Get her subscribed. Get her going. What are you waiting for? Just give the guy a subscribe. Help out the Fiend, bro. He got a mohawk, for crying out loud. He's put beer in his pants. He's had multiple shoeies. Chugged. He makes sometimes good content. Maybe you don't like it. If you don't like it, well, you probably wouldn't be listening. And that's all right. We're not for everybody. Everybody likes their own stuff, things, words, people. Some people just like to listen to people that have the most views, subscribers, and stuff like that. And that's always the biggest problem when you start something new in the world of social media, Instagram, X, YouTube. If you have a low following and low views, it's tough to get new views in because a lot of people, the problem is they don't want to watch someone that doesn't have a lot of views. Just because you have a lot of views doesn't mean you have good information or good videos. There's a lot of people with a lot of views that give out really bad information and bad picks. Just because they have a lot of views doesn't mean that they're good at what they do or they know what they're talking about at all, right? So this is a community that is growing throughout the week. I've started with 0. I got to 100 subscribers. I gave out $500 at 500 subscribers, and now we're nearing 1,500 subscribers. So if I would have quit when I wasn't seeing the growth, when I wasn't seeing the views, when the algorithm just wasn't working for me at all, if I would have just quit, I wouldn't be here. But you know me, F3 is no quitter. Quitters are for fucking spitters. Quitters are spitters. F3's here. We're fired up. And we're on all platforms. Please check out Discord. It's free with MMA Toad and Prelim Tim. Prelim Tim, MMA Toad are in there for free, giving out a bunch of free content for the fights. All sports are included as well with the Fight Fiend Forecast. Discord is free. Please stay forecasted And hopefully everyone really enjoyed this video, got some extra information out of it. For now, stay safe, stay forecasted. I'm out. Peace.